Hello, dear viewer, and thank you for joining me on day 9 of reading the Bible together. Today we are reading Genesis chapter 20 and 21 from the Old Testament, as well as Matthew chapter 7, verse 1 to 20 from the New Testament. Let's start. Genesis chapter 20. Abraham and Abimelech. Abraham moved from Mamre to the southern part of Canaan and lived between Kadesh and Shur. Later, while he was living in Gerar, he said that his wife Sarah was his sister. So King Abimelech of Gerar had Sarah brought to him. One night God appeared to him in a dream and said, "You are going to die because you have taken this woman. She is already married." But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, "Lord, I am innocent. Would you destroy me and my people?" Abraham himself said that she was his sister, and she said the same thing. "I did this with a clear conscience, and I have done no wrong." God replied in the dream, "Yes, I know that you did it with a clear conscience, so I kept you from sinning against her and did not let you touch her. But now, give the woman back to her husband. He is a prophet, and he will pray for you, so that you will not die. But if you do not give her back, I warn you that you are going to die, you and all your people." Early the next morning, Abimelech called all his officials and told them what had happened, and they were terrified. Then Abimelech called Abraham and asked, "What have you done to us? What wrong have I done to you to make you bring this disaster on me and my kingdom? No one should ever do what you have done to me. Why did you do it?" Abraham answered, "I thought that there would be no one here who has reverence for God, and that they would kill me to get my wife. She really is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not of my mother, and I married her. So when God sent me from my father's house into foreign lands, I said to her, 'You can show how loyal you are to me by telling everyone that I am your brother.'" Then Abimelech gave Sarah back to Abraham, and at the same time he gave him sheep, cattle, and slaves. He said to Abraham, "Here is my whole land. Live anywhere you like." He said to Sarah, "I am giving your brother 1,000 pieces of silver as proof to all who are with you that you are innocent. Everyone will know that you have done no wrong." Because of what had happened to Sarah, Abraham's wife, the Lord had made it impossible for any woman in Abimelech's palace to have children. So Abraham prayed for Abimelech, and God healed him. He also healed his wife and his slave woman, so that they could have children. Genesis chapter 21. The birth of Isaac. The Lord blessed Sarah as he had promised, and she became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham when he was old. The boy was born at the time God had said he would be born. Abraham named him Isaac, and when Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him, as God had commanded. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. Sarah said, "God has brought me joy and laughter. Everyone who hears about it will laugh with me." Then she added, "Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age." The child grew, and on the day that he was weaned, Abraham gave a great feast. Hagar and Ishmael are sent away. One day Ishmael, whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham, was playing with Sarah's son Isaac. Sarah saw them and said to Abraham, "Send this slave and her son away. The son of this woman must not get any part of your wealth, which my son Isaac should inherit." This troubled Abraham very much, because Ishmael also was his son. But God said to Abraham, "Don't be worried about the boy and your slave Hagar. Do whatever Sarah tells you, because it is through Isaac that you will have the descendants I have promised. I will also give many children to the son of the slave woman, so that they will become a nation. He too is your son." Early the next morning, Abraham gave Hagar some food and a leather bag full of water. He put the child on her back and sent her away. She left and wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water was all gone, she left the child under a bush and sat down about 100 yards away. She said to herself, "I can't bear to see my child die." While she was sitting there, she began to cry. God heard the boy crying, and from heaven the angel of God spoke to Hagar. "What are you troubled about, Hagar? Don't be afraid. God has heard the boy crying. Get up, go and pick him up and comfort him. I will make a great nation out of his descendants." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well. She went and filled the leather bag with water and gave some to the boy. God was with the boy as he grew up. He lived in the wilderness of Paran and became a skillful hunter. His mother got an Egyptian wife for him. The agreement between Abraham and Abimelech. At the time that Abimelech went with Phicol, the commander of his army, and said to Abraham, "God is with you in everything you do. So make a vow here in the presence of God that you will not deceive me, my children, or my descendants. I have been loyal to you, so promise that you will also be loyal to me and to this country in which you are living." Abraham said, "I promise." Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well which the servants of Abimelech had seized. Abimelech said, "I don't know who did this. You didn't tell me about it, and this is the first I have heard of it." Then Abraham gave some sheep and cattle to Abimelech, and the two of them made an agreement. Abraham separated 7 lambs from his flock, and Abimelech asked him, "Why did you do that?" Abraham answered, "Except these 7 lambs. By doing this, you admit that I am the one who dug this well." And so the place was called Beersheba, because it was there that the two of them made a vow. After they had made this agreement at Beersheba, Abimelech and Phicol went back to Philistia. Then Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba and worshipped the Lord, the everlasting God. Abraham lived in Philistia for a long time. Please feel free to pause the video here for time to reflect on what we have read. Let's continue. Matthew chapter 7 verse 1 to 20. Judging others. Do not judge others, so that God will not judge you, for God will judge you in the same way you judge others, and He will apply to you the same rules you apply to others. Why then do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, and pay no attention to the log in your own eye? How dare you say to your brother, "Please let me take that speck out of your eye," when you have a log in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will be able to see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Do not give what is holy to dogs. They will only turn and attack you. Do not throw your pearls in front of pigs. They will only trample them underfoot. Ask, seek, knock. Ask, and you will receive. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks will receive, and anyone who seeks will find, and the door will be opened to those who knock. Would any of you who are fathers give your son a stone when he asks for bread? Or would you give him a snake when he asks for a fish? As bad as you are, you know how to give good things to your children. How much more then will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask Him? Do for others what you want them to do for you. This is the meaning of the law of Moses and of the teachings of the prophets. The narrow gate. Go in through the narrow gate, because the gate to hell is wide, and the road that leads to it is easy, and there are many who travel it. But the gate to life is narrow, and the way that leads to it is hard, and there are few people who find it. a tree and its fruit. Be on your guard against false prophets. They come to you looking like sheep on the outside, but on the inside they are really like wild wolves. You will know them by what they do. Thorn bushes do not bear grapes, and briars do not bear figs. A healthy tree bears good fruit, but a poor tree bears bad fruit. A healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a poor tree cannot bear good fruit. And any tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown in the fire. So then, you will know the false prophets by what they do. Please feel free to pause the video here for time to reflect on what we have read. That's it for today, and I hope that you'll join me in the next video. Wishing you a graceful morning, day, or evening.